Welcome to Life Unedited. I am your host, Tabitha Sweeney, and this is your lifestyle guide to living an unapologetic life that aligns solely with you. Happy International Women's Day! Woo! All right, here we go, guys. Where do I start? I feel like that's what I always say, right? Where do I start? Because I never know. I have so much on my mind, especially today. And the thing is part of what's on my mind today is not ready to be shared. So I want to be very careful in how much I say and what I say. But what I really want to talk about is owning your story. I feel like this is everything that I work with women on. And I feel like I start with body image because I think that's where we start by owning our story, is with our bodies. But it is so important that we own our entire story, all of it, every last piece. Here's the reason why. Anything that we are not saying out loud, any parts of us that we are hiding, so long as we are hiding that, we are not living our truest life. We are not being our authentic selves, and there is no way for us to be. If we are hiding anything, then we are not being true to ourselves. Because our authentic selves don't feel shame and guilt. They're not embarrassed. She doesn't try to hide things. She doesn't make excuses. It is what it is, what it is. And no matter how good we get at thinking that we live this authentic life, no matter how good we get at being transparent, inevitably something will happen that your first gut reaction is to hold on to and dip your head and pretend it didn't happen and not say anything, right? That's human nature. And I'm currently experiencing that at this moment. I got a phone call yesterday on something medically that has me do I want to tell people that? Do I want to say it? And Jill looked at me and she said, you got to own your story. Fuck. Man, there's nothing worse than when your words are used against you, right? Fuck. I got to own my story. I just don't know if it's going to be today. I know I will own it. I don't know if it's going to be today. We'll see. By the end of this podcast, you might know it. I'm not sure. That's usually how my life goes, guys. But anyways, let's circle back. Our authentic selves don't feel guilt and shame. They own the fact that the things that have happened to us, the things that have happened in spite of us, have led us to become the person that we are. It doesn't take away the pain. It doesn't take away the suck of how much it sucks. But it does take away the sting. It does take away the embarrassment. It does take away the shame. Because the thing is, there's two parts of us. Okay, this is how I describe it. We have our ego, and our ego wants to keep up with the Joneses. Our ego wants to live up to society's standards. Our ego wants to fit in. Our ego will do whatever it takes to be the popular kid, person, mom, whatever. Our heart is our truth. And our truth sometimes doesn't go with our ego, right? So when we find that, like, here's a perfect example. Our ego. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to lose 10 pounds. I don't know why I can't lose 10 pounds. I'm doing all the things. I don't know why I can't. And our truth is like, we don't want to do the fucking things. I'm not going to stop eating my cookies. I'm not going to eat more vegetables. And I'm sure as fuck not going to the gym 3 times a week. That's our truth. Our ego says we want to lose 10 pounds because that helps us fit in. Our truth says we're not going to fucking lose 10 pounds because we don't want to do the things. When our ego and our truth are going on like opposite, like this one's going this way and this one's going this way and they're not running parallel, life feels hard. It feels heavy. It feels judged. When our ego and our truth run like train tracks and they run parallel to each other, our life runs smooth. It feels good. We feel joy. The hard part is our life can be going like this, like perfectly fine. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, dude, that ego takes a sharp turn. Like hardcore. Bounces off of truth. And truth is like, what the fuck? And so I want to talk about how imperative this idea is to get our ego and our hearts on the same track, going the same speed, moving in the same direction. Sounds like it should be an easy thing to do, but in reality, it's really not. It's really not an easy thing to do. And as somebody who's been practicing and working on this for the past 5 years, like I started like 8 years ago after Charlotte was born, but like for the past 5 years since Patrick's suicide attempt, I have made it like my life's mission that like I will never hold back again. I will never pretend again. I'm done trying to keep up the perception that everything was okay when my life was absolutely crumbling. Almost killed me. It almost put me into a nervous breakdown because I just couldn't. And finally, when I finally was just like, my life is a shit show. Things are bad. When I finally opened that door and I finally said the things and people started opening up, because see, that's the thing. Once you're the one to open up first, once you're the first one to open that door, people then are like, oh my God, you have to have the courage and the bravery. And then they come to you and they're like, that happened to me too. I've been there. I know what that's like. It happened after I said I had a miscarriage. I had so many women come to me and tell me that they also had miscarriages and they never talked about it. They felt so alone. They thought they didn't realize how many women had been through this. It happened after his suicide attempt. It happened after we were just about financially ruined and I couldn't pay for Christmas for the kids and I was applying for food stamps. And I had people coming and saying to me the same things. It happened after I was diagnosed with ADHD. Do you know what the most amazing thing about being diagnosed with ADHD was? And saying it and like being loud about it, like fucking have ADHD. Holy shit, my entire life makes sense. And I am super, super pro med and I am super like, I take Adderall every single day. And there is no one out there that will convince me that there is a homeopathic alternative that is worth trying, because that's how life altering the medication is for me. But once I finally put it out there, do you know what happened? I got to stop trying to fucking be perfect. I got to stop trying to keep it all in and be like, all of a sudden I was like, I know I own 15 phone chargers. because I'm constantly losing them. I know why I buy everything in multiples of 3 because I need one of everything for the studio, I need one of everything for home, and one of most things for my car. All of a sudden, it made sense. When I started talking about losing friendships, ones that hurt a lot, like stake through the heart, hurt. I had so many women opening up to me about their stories. This is why it is so important to stand in your story. The world will always have more followers than leaders. It's a fact. In that same fact, the world will never have enough leaders. There is always room for another one. Those who can help pave the way to make everyday life easier for someone else. And by that, I don't mean like pay for their groceries or clean their house. I mean, those things are great. And if anyone would like to do that, my door is open all the time. But what I mean is you lift some of the weight off their shoulders. You lift some of the burden. You take away some of the shame and the guilt. You let them breathe a little easier because now they're like, oh, fuck, I'm not alone. That is one of the most incredible feelings. As humans, we are designed to want to be with other humans. We are designed to want to fit in. That is human nature. We want to fit in. But what if you could be the one that helped other women fit in? And they fit into where they truly belong, not where they're trying to fit into. Stop being a square peg in a round hole. The square peg in the round hole is when the ego and the heart are like constantly butting heads and running into each other. Be a round hole in a round peg in a round hole and run parallel. And then pick up everybody along the way who has the same truths, who has the same feelings, who's got the same experiences. Separate your guilt from your shame. Because that's one of the big things. We feel guilty and we feel shame over things that were never our actions. I found out my ex-mother-in-law was hitting my kids. And at first I was super like, how do you say that out loud? I was so ashamed. And then I had this realization. I'm not hitting my kids. Those are not my actions. Why do I feel ashamed? I should feel angry. I should feel, honestly, I don't think I had any other words other than angry. I was so angry. But ashamed? I can't feel ashamed for something I'm not doing. Think about other point in times when you felt shame in your life. Think about why you felt that shame. Where does it come from? Was it your actions? Did you do something to intentionally hurt someone else? I felt shame for things I've done. I felt shame for actions I've had, and that is shame that's mine to hold because it was my actions, right? But I refuse to hold shame anymore for someone else's actions. I refuse to feel guilty for someone else's decisions. Not anymore. Abso-fucking-lutely not. No. I've got enough to regulate my emotions and my feelings over my own actions. And let's face it, I'm all the fuck over the place. So, like, at any given moment, those feelings are changing, right? I don't have the time or the energy to be having those kind of feelings for somebody else's actions. So now I have to regulate myself and say, whew, it was his decision. I might be the messenger, but I didn't write the message. You can't experience that separation until you start owning your own story. You cannot begin to do the things that you were put on this earth to do, the things that you were called to do, until you start owning your own story. And the more you own it, this is the kicker. The more you own it, there are people in your life right now, this very moment, who are locking arms with you, who as soon as you say it out loud, they're like, whoa, peace out. Dude, feels like somebody took a fucking steak knife right through your rib cage. Trust me, been there. I've been there. I have lost numerous people who I never in a million years thought I would lose because I spoke my truth. It hurts for about 3 minutes, days, a week or two. And then all of a sudden, one day you wake up and you're like, huh, guess I didn't really bring that much to my life. Because you know what? I feel pretty fucking good. Yeah. When you own your story, you stand in your full power. And if we ever want to bring change to the patriarch, we all need to stand in our fucking power. Hands down, no questions. We need to stand in our power if we are ever going to bring change here. I want to see change. Here's one last thing I want to say about shame and guilt. And I thought of this as I was thinking of bringing change, right? To the patriarch and the laws and the things that we've seen in our lifetime that we never thought we were going to see. I lost people when I stood up very loudly and said, I am sick and disgusted with the fact that Roe was overturned. I lost people. They weren't my people. And as I say that, because we're talking about changing the patriarch and we're talking about women's rights, health, state of mind, all of it. It's everything. It's bringing women to full power. And by full power, I don't mean ruling the fucking world. I don't mean being like matriarchs. I mean giving them the ability, without doubt, to do what they're capable of, to treat them as equals, right? So here's the thing. When I look and I'm like, oh, Roe was overturned. And we started hearing all of these stories of women who had abortions. And we heard them from loved ones, friends, family, women that we would have never expected to hear it from. And they started finding their strength and their courage to speak out because we all had it like colored in as far as like, who would do this? The reality is that's not it. Now, I will say that I have been extremely blessed and fortunate that it's a decision I never had to make. I've never had to make that decision. I will also tell you that I have many, many women in my life who have. I have many women in my life who have walked into a clinic and walked out. They went in with the intention to get an abortion. They left because they changed their mind. I have just as many who went in and went through with it. And here's the thing, when we talk about shame and guilt, I have friends who went through with it and years later were haunted by that decision. Part of standing in your own truth, part of saying it out loud, is that it helps us forgive ourselves. Every time we say it out loud, it harshens the blow a little bit less. Every time we say it out loud, it makes it a little bit more of a reality, just a normalcy. So even though you may have shame and guilt over decisions that you made, I want to reiterate to you, because I do, over different decisions, right? Not over something this is as extreme as abortion, but I most certainly do. A lot of which revolved around actions I took when I was 19 and 20 years old. We have to forgive ourselves. We have to understand that we did the best we could with who we were at that time. Kind of powerful. Once we start doing that, once we start bringing the light to it, we can start shedding the shame and the guilt. This is one of my favorite things. This helping women figure out whether or not they are in alignment with who they want to be is one of my absolute favorite things. And I actually have a 3-call package that helps you guys do that. 3 calls with me. I block out up to 90 minutes for the call. Now, sometimes we don't need a full 90, but we get up to 90 minutes for that call. And we really start going through. Does this align? Does it not align? And the program itself is called Allure. And I call it a goal audit. Now, here's the thing. It can be for a single goal, right? Like one single goal, but it can also be like the goal of life. Like, fuck, my life is not where I thought it was going to be. So my goal, this is what I want my life to look like. This is where I am. Why are they not in alignment? Or it could be something like, I don't know, I keep trying to lose the same 10 pounds, but it doesn't go anywhere. Why can't I lose this 10 pounds? Let's figure it out. Why can't I get $1,000 into savings? Let's figure it out. Every time you're saying, why can't I? these two trains are not in alignment. They're running into each other as opposed to going parallel. So long as they go parallel, you'll get wherever you want to go. But as soon as one of them jumps the tracks, game over. So that's what I help women do. It is one of my absolute favorite things. And it is so eye-opening when we start walking through the entire process. So if it's something that you are interested in, I'm going to drop the link below. If you have questions, text, call, email me, whatever, get in contact, leave a comment below, whatever. But know that wherever it is you want to go, you can get there. And it all starts with making the decision to stand and own your story. On that note, you guys, I want you to go out and I want you to have a kick-ass International Women's Day. Go do something for you. Mwah.